everyone. First of all, it's important to know where pyATS came from. So pyATS stands for Python Automated Test Systems, and it was created in 2014 as a Cisco internal testing infrastructure for engineering team. They started to use it for some sanity checks and features testing. But after years of development, Cisco decided to share pyATS with community. It became publicly available since 2017 through Cisco DEVNET. The pyATS is a framework formerly known as Genie, but now all set of modules and tools are moved under the one name, pyATS. But it still uses the Genie library as a main library. So, why pyATS exactly? There are many other tooling available at the time being. In Python we have Unitest and PyTest modules for testing, Ansible Chief and Puppet for configuration, NetMiko and similar tools for device connection. The answer lies in the context that all this tooling have a drawbacks from network testing standpoint. Unitest module is focused on small, quick tests when network validation may take a longer time because of slow CLI responses, and standard test modules may not be suitable in some cases. There are also Ansible, Chief and Puppet tools, which are great in provisioning and automation of configuration, but they are not good in network validation. In other words, we can check management and configuration state, but there is no easy way to test operational status, which is often more important for engineers to understand that the network is functioning properly. There are also tools for connection implementation, like NetMiko and CClient and others. They are geared toward network devices, but their functionality may not be enough to cover all your needs. pyATS in turn unites functionality of all said above, mitigates drawbacks and adds new features. To summarize, pyATS helps to cover the whole spectrum of net DevOps operations, like planning and preparation of design and requirements, maintenance that includes monitoring and validation, configuration and deployment, and of course, test automation. If talking about test automation, what might be the goals? On this slide, we will find some examples of what can be achieved by test automation. You can automate configuration by checking that some specific piece of configuration present on device. Also, with pyATS, it's possible to automatically check the current operation state of configured entities and protocols. For example, validate the current state of interfaces and check the presence of CRC errors on them, or check the correct operation of OSPF, BGP, NTP, and other protocols. And finally, you can make sure that device is healthy by determining the current status of physical components like supervisor, power unit, fan, and by retrieving load values of CPU, RAM, etc. Despite the fact that pyATS was created by Cisco engineers, pyATS supports not only Cisco devices, but other vendors as well. This is possible because pyATS itself was built in vendor-agnostic way. There are different plugins, features, modules that don't have hard-coded data of specific vendor. It makes them reusable and open for new vendors and solutions to be added. So, what pyATS has under the hood? It can be divided into three main layers or components. It is pyATS itself that wraps entire solution and acts as a toolbox. It's responsible for execution, test definitions, reporting, and so on. Under pyATS, we meet the engine that's called Genie. Genie is a Python library solution for pyATS, which contains all the tools needed for networking test automation. Genie has four main functionalities: configure devices, retrieve device operation state. It also includes parsers, feature models, test cases, triggers, verifications, and test harness, which ties it all together. And the last but not least, pyATS provides flexibility in integrations with other solutions like Ansible, Jenkins, Robot Framework, CI/CD pipelines, and so on. Therefore, if you want to add pyATS to your existing infrastructure, this will not be an obstacle. We recommend setting up your environment in advance to practice as you learn. So just a couple of words about what I'll use on this course. On this course, I'll use Debian operating system, but pyATS can be installed on other Linux distributives as well as on Mac OS, Linux subsystem on Windows, and even there is a ready-made Docker container. If you are going to use virtual machines, then VirtualBox or free edition of VMware Player are the good options. Also, since pyATS is a Python framework, then of course you will need Python to be installed. On this course, it will be Python 3.9 version, but any other versions starting from 3.7 are officially supported. In addition, I'm going to edit files in console, Vim editor, and use IPython as a Python interpreter. You are free to use any graphical IDE or other text editors you prefer. Next goes network devices. GNS3 is a lab environment to emulate devices for this course. But other emulators like EVNG can be used, or you can utilize virtual resources or use real devices. Please note that you have to take care about software images. The only way to legally get these images is to subscribe to a virtual license, and you will have download access. We cannot share this with you, unfortunately. If you are going to use unlicensed products, it will be under your responsibility. And in the end, I have to mention that Cisco had been provided pay-free sandbox, where you were able to reserve resources and practice pyATS. But at the time of creating this course, that virtual lab is not available. Probably it will return back later, so we recommend to check Cisco Sandbox offers if you are interested in this.